Corner. Welcome back and thanks for joining me. So now I want to show you my second project for December daily, except it's really not a daily project, more like if you started at the 1st of December and worked on it daily, you might get it done in time. So I originally started to take video as I was creating this, but realized that I'm not going to be able to upload a 30-hour video to YouTube. So I'm just going to walk through everything. I'm going to insert some video footage here of me shooting this sort of up close and personal because it sits like this. It's kind of hard to show it to you. So here's that video. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk through what I did on all of this. Let's see if I can set this down. Actually, let me give this a little bit of height. Here we go. That ought to get us a decent enough picture. Okay, I started with I've got four different vignette boxes here. The two large squares, and this is the small square, come from a kit where you get 3 sizes. This is the medium size that I didn't use, the small and the large. I had this kit, and then I had the large one left over from, another project I did. I think it was my Creep on June vignette that I had used medium boxes. And so now this is the large one that I had left over. So then the base down here is another vignette box, and I can show you. I've just got it upside down, and it's a tall, skinny one. And I just use that as the base, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But on that base, I have some stenciling. There you go. I stenciled on it first, and that's Lorna Taylor's, the top part of it anyway, of her Art Deco stencil. So I stenciled first, and then I went over it with a wash of liquid acrylic in olive green. And then I went over it with metallic wax in, first I did gold. Let's see, here I'll show you vintage gold, which is this one. And then next I went over a little bit more just to darken that up a tiny bit with some Bronze Age. Not real heavy on the Bronze Age, just wanted to tone it down just a tiny bit. Then I added this metal piece. This is like a drawer pull, and let me show you what that looked like when I brought it home. I got this at an estate sale. And this piece was with it. So these are, I guess, complementary pieces. But these two pieces I got together. And this is what it looked like. Which, isn't horrible by just as is. But a little bit of Brasso and some elbow grease. And I got this beautiful, beautiful brass piece. So that, I always look for metal pieces at estate sales. Metal stuff. Okay, so I let's see, then what did I do? Then I took my four, here we go, get this so where you can see it. Each one of the boxes, I covered the sides with a printout from Tracy's December Daily Kit. And then I covered the front here, the front edge that shows right here, with washi tape. And of course I used glue, and I used a Tim Holtz washi tape, if you can see that, like that, just to give it a little bit of that vintagey look. So I created each of the boxes individually with the sides and the front. Then I went in and printed out, these are pages from Tracy's backdrops that go with the December Daily, and there's several different colors, and I did the blue, and it's two different sides of the page, and then the green up here on the top. And on the green one, I sewed around the edge. And then all three of them I just put in the base, just dropped it down and glued it down in. And I left the inside wood. So I just had the printout here in the base, printouts on three sides, and then the washi tape all the way around all four sides on the front. So I put the washi tape on first and then covered that lip where the washi tape folded over, covered that with the paper. And I also inked the paper before I put it in or put it on the sides. Okay, then next, I glued the two bigger boxes together and clamped them overnight. And I put just using matte gel medium right here on the sides. And then I glued those pieces down here, again using matte gel medium, to the top of this base. And I left a little lip in the back there. I didn't need to necessarily, I just wanted to. I could have actually come forward a little bit more, but I wanted to be able to create this snow scene where the snow was going all the way back to the wall. Okay, so snow. Next, what I did is first I put a layer of using liquid matte gel, or matte medium, sorry. So matte gel medium for the heavy gluing, and liquid matte medium is where I started with on the base with some gauze. Just your standard sort of, you can see I cut a little circle out of this, just your standard sort of white gauze. I had a big roll of it, and I laid it down with the liquid matte medium and just saturated it and scrunched it up and tried to sort of make, you know, uneven surface. Then I let that dry overnight. Then I went back over that with, it's snow. And it's the kind of thing you can get at the dollar store, or I think I got this at Hobby Lobby. And it's just this, it's just snow. It's got these little pieces, you know, different colored pieces in it. I got green in there, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But that's what it is, that you can sprinkle on stuff. But what I did is I laid down a heavy coat of the liquid matte gel, or the liquid matte medium, sprinkled the snow on, and then I went in and pat it down and sort of pushed it down a little bit. And I got my, you know, I've got my movement. And I brought it all the way, and you can tell there's enough layers here where you really can't see that lip of the bottom of the two vignette boxes in the box. You can see that it's there, but it's just about covered up. Okay. So then I put shelves in the back, and the shelves come from they're an etc. pack, and they come from, they're called trims. You get 10 each, you get 30 different ones. They're different sizes. I can't remember which size, and they're also different thicknesses too. So I used the widest ones and glued those in. And up underneath there, let's see if you can see it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but up underneath there, there's the skinny trim. So I put the skinny trim on top of the thick trim here, like this. Let me pull this out and show you. So here's the thick one, and here's the skinny one. And I glued the skinny one up underneath here like that, flush here on the back. And the reason I did that is so that I would have a wider space to glue, because this was gluing straight on the wall. So this is the bottom of the shelf, and this is the top of the shelf. Does that make sense? And I glued it like that. Painted it first, and I just painted it a green. Used acrylic paint and painted it. And I did that on both shelves. Next, I started getting pieces ready to go. So I also used the Etc. pack. These are tiles, and you get oblong ones and you get square tiles. And so the square tiles are what I used. Here's a square tile here in the back. I made 6 square tiles. That's from a printout from Tracy's kit. And what I did was I just did some mathing to figure out what size I needed to print the page. And then I just picked 6 images that I liked and I thought were kind of fun. And went with the magic of the season, if you will. You can see the snowman's back there in the back, the bird, the Santa Claus. Then you've got the fire scene, the birds, and the toy soldier. And I printed them out at the size where they would fit. And then I glued them onto the top. And then I just very, very lightly sanded just a tiny bit around the edges just to get them, to look more like they weren't just glued on top. And then inked around them. Then on the bottom 2 on each side, those are glued directly to this baseboard, just flat. But this top one, what I did was underneath, I took a little piece of the trim edge that's left over. When you pop these squares out, you can see you get, you have this edging. So it's going to be the exact same thickness. And I just glued a tiny piece of edging right here to the edge so that when I put this down, I had a flat surface, if that makes sense. So that this isn't vulnerable. I can't push on this. There's a piece of this behind it. So those were the squares. Okay, what else? Then I made all of the numbers. So I have 0 through 9, and then I have doubles for 1, 2, and 0. So you could put, double 0 days until Christmas, but then that also allows for the 11 and the 22. We don't have a 33, so basically you can go from 0 to 39. No, 32. And there's enough letters. And these were little wood tags, and they come like this. And they're just a thin, heavier than a balsa wood, but not a lot. So they're just a very lightweight, they're very light tags. And I just used one of my punches. I have an alphabet set that has numbers on it. And it's a double, it pops out, there you go, the center too. So I ran all the numbers through with red, and I print out the red from the backdrop page from the kit, and then I ran them all on the green. You can kind of see that green has a little bit of speckling in it, and that's that speckly that's coming through. And then on the ones where I did doubles, I just did the opposite. So here's my 2 zeros. Let's see. First, I used some watered down raw umber and just a couple of them, just played with and stained these. Then I painted the backs of them just solid black. And then I went on and glued the numbers all on. And that was tricky because of all the little cutouts. And then I went over the whole face of these with 2 coats of collage medium. I can't remember if I used Tim Holtz collage medium or if I used liquid matte medium, but I went over the top, so these are sealed in, and you can kind of see that sheen just a little bit on there. And so then those were done. That's the numbers. Okay. Next, I had a set of these metal stencils that I've actually got a couple sizes. This was the smaller size, and I played around with what word I wanted to this to be, and I wanted to say basically believe in the magic of the season, and so I chose the word believe, and I slipped those together. These slide inside of each other. Let me show you. Okay, here we go. So let's just grab two. They have a lip here. So this is the R and the W, and that just slides down like that. And so what I did was I created there we go. And it can go all the way down, but what I wanted was them to be varying heights. And so I took glossy accents and I ran just a little bit of glossy accents down this edge, and then slipped the letters in and just varied the heights as I did them. And that was so what I just did, so they won't pull apart. They're glued together. So this is all one word. And then on the end, I used two little, I don't know if it's a period or what it is, but they had a hole in them and they were skinny. This is the same thing, it's just wider. It's a spacer. And I put those on the end, glued all of them together, and then put little brads here on through the two holes. All right, that's that. Next, this is just a chipboard piece in the back that I just did a little bit of, it's embossing powder, and it's an embossing powder that has some patina and some rust kind of mixed in. So it's got a little bit of that on there. Then we have these stars and all of the gold and the red balls. They're from these types of things. So you can tell half of this got cut off. And I just got these. I got these particular ones, I think at either Hobby Lobby or Joann's for, $1 for a sprig or something like that. And so there's one with stars on it. And then I have the gold balls, and then there's two different colors of red balls. There's a brighter red and a darker red. And so those were just some doodads that I picked up, on sale somewhere. Okay, then these snowflakes, these silver snowflakes, those are from Tim Holtz, and they're charms. And I used all of them, but I just used my pliers and popped off the top of the charm, sanded that top down, and then just glued them flat on the different surfaces that I've put them on. Then on this top part, I added the hooks. These are the hooks that screw in. Let me show you. They're these. If you can see that. And so I just screwed those in, measured where I needed them to be in order for my spacing to work, and then just screwed those into the top. When I screwed them into the top, or before I screwed them into the top, I had measured, and I knew that the post of this screw is taller than the thickness of my, if you can see, I'm putting it, oh, no, you can't see that. Hold on, let me show you. You can see it would have come all the way through the top if I were to get that tight. And so what I did was add the extra board up here on the top so that when I screwed these in, I had the extra space or the thickness that I needed to get them screwed in tight. And then just to finish it off, I added a little handle, little knob up here on the top. Just like a little drawer pull, just to make it look like it's from a drawer. Okay, that's the top. See? I knew this was going to take a long time. Okay, this is obviously the piece from a wooden ruler, and I specifically picked the 24 and 25, And since they were right here where the wooden ruler, folds up, I put them at a little bit of an angle here. And then on the top half over here, I put, this is a metal piece from Tim Holtz. It says Season of Magic. I put white gesso on it first, and then I put the metallic, I can't remember if I used gold or brass. I think I used brass. Bronze Age. Just wipe that with the Bronze Age, and then I used 2 brads and kind of hammered them a little bit to get them some indents. And then I glued that whole thing onto this wood board. Coming down, this is another piece from a Tim Holtz Christmas kit, and it is also metal. And I painted it red and green, and then went over it with the gold metal ink to give it that golden kind of look. Then back up here, I have the 3 vials that you see here. Those are watchmaker vials, just from my watchmaker. I have a watchmaker's kit, and so I like to pull those vials out periodically. And those are watchmaker vials. And then the little red balls, they look like little red hots. Those are art ingredients from Finnabar, from Prima Marketing. They're the white art stones. And you can see they're white. So they would work well for snow. And what I did is just put some in the bottom of a little glass dish and doused them with alcohol ink and let them sort of sit overnight. And then came in and spread them out on a paper towel and let them dry really, really well. And then just filled the jars with them. I also used those same little colored stones on this tree back here in the back. And I just randomly picked one up with my tweezers, dabbed some glue, art glitter glue on it, and then just shoved it into the tree. And so that created the ornaments on that little tree there in the back. These snowflakes, there's 3 of them. No, 2. There's one up here in this corner, and there's one back there in the very back corner back there. Those are both, I'm going to turn this off. I'll get to the lights in just a minute. Those are little wooden snowflakes that you can get, in the Christmas section, of any of the craft stores. And I have used an embossing powder on them. No ink, no color other than that. So they're just the wood with the embossing powder. And the embossing powder is sort of a bluish. So I don't know if you can see that or not. It's really hard to get that up there. There you go. Okay, then the candy canes in this middle vial and all of the red candies and the candy canes down here, that's all from the confectioner's piece from Tim Holtz. And so that's just all the different candies, and they're spread out all over the place. Next, the lantern back here is also a Tim Holtz lantern, and I just used lumberjack red, the lumberjack red embossing glaze on it to color it. Then on these stars, they also come, in the piece, like they're the floral piece. And I just went over them. They were a rust color, but I did go over them with Bronze Age just to give them a little bit of a sheen and to just antique them. The little acorns are just a pack of baby acorns that I got from Amazon. More of a metal ruler there. And, okay, trees. The trees are also from Tim Holtz, and they come white. And so what I did was spray them with, I used Lindy's. This is a Starburst spray. and it's Ponderosa Pines Olive. And it's really a pretty color. And so I just put them in, you know, put them in my box, sprayed them, turned them, sprayed them, turned them until they turned green. And then I used some collage medium and ran my finger over them with collage medium. Got some blobs and just, you know, a bunch on there. And then I took the tree, the wet tree, I opened this bag up and I just stuck it in and turned it around inside this bag to get the snow on them. Then I added the red to this one, but I decided not to add any red to this one. This tree, I put some snow on, brushed a lot of it off, and then I wrapped the tiny lights on it. And then I put more snow on. So some of the snow is going over some of the strands. Okay, that leaves, I think, just the figurines. The 2 deer are from the deer pack where there's 2 large deer and 2 small deer. And I just painted them with acrylic paint. And then I went over them with the Bronze Age. Then on their antlers, I did the brown, but then I dry brushed some black just on the antler portion and went over all of it with the Bronze Age. And then I just dabbed a little tiny bit of, I dry brushed a little bit of white on their tail and chest. And then I gave them with black gesso. I just put their, painted their eyes in and just put a little white dot there. Then on this guy, this little 25 is from the metal kit from Tim Holtz that has the wreath in it and the Season of Magic in it. You know, it's just a kit with several metal pieces in it. And so that's a little charm, and I just strung that around his neck and glued it down. There we go. The wooden soldier, nutcracker, I guess he's technically a nutcracker, and the snowman are also from Tim Holtz. They also come white. I started those both with a cream gesso. This is, it's gesso with a tint into it. So it's kind of almost like a putty color, so it's not stark white. And then I went in with acrylic paint, and I painted the blacks, the reds. You know, his nose is burnt sienna, the brush, and then I went back over, or the broom. Same with him. I painted his boots black, his coat red, his hat black, his mustache, put the eyes on. And then I went over the whole thing with the Bronze Age, very lightly on the snowman, just very lightly around his body. So you can kind of get that aged look. And then heavier on top of like his hands, the hat, the broom, that kind of thing. Same with the soldier, the nutcracker. Okay, I think, whoa, let me take a look. I think that's everything. This was a lot of work, but a huge labor of love. I had so much fun putting together. I love putting together vignette boxes, and this one was no different. I have 2 sets of tiny lights here, and they're up back here. And one is just a single light going into the lantern, and the other is the whole strand going into, wrap it around the tree. So I can turn those back on now. There, whoops, there's the tree. And there's the lantern. The lantern's in here. It's hard for me to turn on. There we go. So we have some lights. What else am I forgetting? Oh, around in certain spots. So right up here on this shelf, right here, where my gauze and snow sort of didn't go all the way to the edge. You can kind of see like right here and here. And then also on this back ledge back here. All of that is Liquitex White Opaque Flakes. And it's very white when you first put it on, and I just dabbed it on in places with a brush. And then as it dries, the base that the flakes are held in is clear. And so it dries sort of, it almost looks spotty, but it looks like snow. So that's that. What else did I use? Ink, of course, you know. I think that's it. I think that's everything. Yeah. Phew, that took a minute. So sorry that took so long to go through, but there's a lot going on. So real quick, I'll just sort of walk this up. Hopefully that's going to focus. You can kind of see all that's going on. I wanted this to be busy. I wanted this to be full. I wanted it to be full of activity. I wanted it to be full of things that are about the commercial season. But I also wanted it to give, my idea was that this is, you've just landed to the North Pole and you're walking up to the outside before you get into Santa's workshop. So this is sort of the activity going on outside. That's where my head was. I'll turn this sideways so that you can kind of see the side and the top. And then over here. There you go. And so the paper here I picked on the sides. I did the same paper on all of the sides. I wanted that to kind of look like snow. So it's snowing. And then the numbers are really, really easy. You just slip them in on the hook and you can change them easily every single day. And then when they stand, I have to lean this back to show it to you. You can see hints of some of this behind, but if you don't have any numbers up there, you know, you can see all of it. So that's that. And that, my friends, is my December Daily Vignette box. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.